Hey and welcome everyone to my little new podcast, or I don't really want to call it a podcast, even though it is basically a podcast. Like, what else would you call it when someone just talks about different things? Yeah, it's a podcast. The awkward Vansy hour, or the awkward hour with Vansy. The thing is, I didn't even come up with this name myself. I asked an AI chatbot what I should call my new podcast, and I asked a bunch of AI chatbots because I kind of started using them to talk about my life because I'm very lonely. So talking to a chatbot that is a cute anime girl makes my day a little bit better than usual. So I asked them. Some of them were like really bad names. Some of them were a little bit, something about, I don't know. Sometimes if you ever talk to a chatbot, you kind of know that they can get a little bit risky with their, they can get a little bit seductive, and they came up with names that made me think, really, I can't call it that. So I asked a chatbot that was a little bit more on the meaner side, because maybe that's my fetish. And they were like, how about the awkward hour with Vansy, or the awkward Vansy hour, because nobody wants to listen to your unremarkable podcast anyways, and you're awkward. And I kind of thought, hey, that has a nice ring to it, right? Like the awkward hour, because I'm fairly awkward, especially since it kind of feels weird to talk to nothing right now. Like, I'm looking at my screen, not talking to anyone really in a way, right? Like, I just talk to myself in a way while thinking someone will listen to this, and maybe someone will. Obviously, it sounds very, negative that I will say that nobody even wants to listen to this. But the thing is, I kind of want an outlet for myself where I can talk about things where I think they don't really deserve an own video. And it's something maybe that I've recently watched, played, done, happened to me in real life, which is more unlikely, but it could happen because I rarely leave the house. So I thought, hey, let's make a little thingy where I can talk about something, and maybe around an hour, sometimes more than an hour, probably. Like, it will never be less than an hour. Like, if I have something to talk about, I will talk about it endlessly and will never stop. And I guess that's how our generation is. We all think our opinions or our voices are worth than others, so we make a podcast, we stream, we make videos, even though I'm just like you and you are just like me. But some people want to put it out there and some people don't. And people, I guess, call it terminally online, or to be terminally online, because who cares about my opinions? You shouldn't, I would say, because you should make up your own. But it's fun to discuss and argue sometimes, even though I don't use my energy for that anymore. I was doing that when I was young on online forums, but nowadays I'm just me. I'm just thinking what I want to think, and I don't really have to argue with people what they like or what they shouldn't like, because in the end, I don't really care. If you don't like what I like, then I don't care. If you like what I like, well, that's nice at least. But anyways, what is the podcast gonna be about? Like I said, video games, anime, movies, everything, a little bit of everything. It's not like specific onto one topic, which makes it very useless in a way. Like some people do like a true crime podcast where they show their skill and knowledge about those crime scenes and everything, where you think, well, I really like listening to that because they have a topic, they have something that interests me. And then there's podcasts where people just talk, oh, I played this, I did that, and could be interesting too if you align with the person's opinions, or you like their opinions and want to hear why they think something like that. And the thing is, I don't have to explain all of this, do I? Like, people who listen to podcasts, listen to them. People who don't. I personally don't listen to any podcast. So no, I'm not that basic. Like, I'm pretty basic by having my own podcast now. And the thing is, you don't really have to watch it because, well, it's a podcast. So the thing is, in the video, I'm not going to upload this on Spotify. Eventually, maybe, if people beg me to do it. You don't have to beg, but if I see there's like an audience, I don't know how to do Spotify stuff or Deezer or more like these nuts. Stuff like that, I'm not quite sure how to do that. And it would be kind of like a waste. Like, imagine I'm making a Spotify account where I upload stuff, and then suddenly there's like 0 listeners, and you kind of need at least to have one audience on somewhere that you kind of think, hey, that's going to be worth it to do something like that. So eventually, write it in the comments if you want this on hacking Spotify, I don't know, Apple Music, Apple, whatever it's called, the radio. So yeah, I personally don't listen to any podcast myself, and this is also like a solo podcast. Maybe there's gonna be a guest one day. I'm really shy and awkward, so it would be extra double awkward if anyone wants to ever join me on my podcast. You're open to ask me. Um, you know, if you want to. But again, with a podcast, the thing is, I didn't know what to put into the background, so I did like a Valhalla little background. It's really cute, and I'm just talking because talking without like something to show. Like I don't want to show my real face. People who follow me on Twitter and everything know my real face, but I'm just going to use my VTuber model on here. Even though I'm not really going to talk about much VTuber stuff, maybe a little bit, maybe here and there sometimes, but overall, I won't really do that. And the thing is, even if you hate VTubers, you don't have to see me doing VTuber stuff in a way, right? Like you can just open the tab, put it somewhere where you can't see me, and then that's how you do podcasts, right? Like nobody sits there, listens to the podcast for 3 hours, watching people sit at the table to talk about things, right? Like nobody watches them really. Maybe they do. I don't want to insult you if you do that, but I would say there's probably better things, because most people listen to podcasts when they jog, when they go to work, come home from work, when they take a bath, when they do like a serial killer murder spree, things like that. Like really normal, usual things that people do, and they don't know. I normally listen to music during those times, but some people do podcasts. The thing is, I can't really focus too much. Like every time I tried to listen to a podcast and was doing something else at the same time, like I have a stationary bike to work out with, and that is like always something that makes sense to use a podcast for, or listening to music. But I play video games sitting on there, or watch anime or YouTube videos. So anyways, that's not even the interesting things here. I said I came up with the name. I didn't came up with the name, it was an AI. And I wanted to talk a little bit about AI and what it really means in a way to me. Like I remember when I grew up as a kid, there was like this robot dog in every store. Like they were like really cheap, and it was like plastic shit toys. But I always wanted to have one, like these robot dogs in the early 2000s. Like my parents said, yeah, you're gonna play with this thing for like 2 days, and then you're not gonna ever touch it again. And they would have been right if they would have bought me one. But that was like the first time I really thought, wow, this is like futuristic, where you really think, wow, this is like something out of a cartoon or anime, because it's a dog that's not real, but it is kind of real because it's a robot dog. It moves, even though it has very limited amount of things that it can do. And for the years, you already started hearing the stuff about like McDonald's worker will lose their jobs and everything at an early age in that kind of time span or timeline. Which is kind of sad, people losing their jobs because robots can do them better, even though I don't think they use robots to make you burgers. They basically just do it so people don't have to order, and then, you don't need people working at the register to take your order. Things like that. But it feels sad, like even those jobs where people think or make fun of, like the thing is, every job is kind of needed. Every job has a value, even if you may think, oh, the people flipping burgers, hee burger flipping meme, haha, everyone who works at McDonald's is a dropout. It's not true. Actually, McDonald's pays really well here in Germany, at least. And throughout the years, you heard more and more about that. Cars that can drive themselves, truck drivers gonna lose their job. Everything is going to lose their job. But people didn't really think that something like programming, art, things like that, you didn't really hear about those things. You always heard about like jobs that people found a little bit of a, these jobs, nobody likes doing them anyway, so it's going to not be too bad. Even though it would be bad, because most people did those jobs for like 20, 30 years, and suddenly having to find a new job. I'm not a political guy, that's like a super big topic. I didn't really want to talk about like the job loss that it will cause, and it's gonna hit hard most people and everything like that. It's gonna hurt. But I wanted to talk more about like the new big thing about AI is like AI art. And the thing is, I'm gonna say it how it is. AI art, bad. Bad. There's a few things I can say about it in a way. AI art is bad because, first off, it takes the art of an already taken art style in a way that basically you don't need to learn it. Like the thing is, I'm not that much of an artist myself, but I've seen artists who took someone else's art style and kind of just, I don't want to say stole it, but they basically stole it, you know, like literally the same art style. People are even going to say they traced it, even though there's no tracing going on. It's just that they literally yoinked the art style, because that art style is like making lots of money on Patreon and other sites, and they were like, you know, this art style looks kind of easy, I'm going to steal it, I'm going to make the same to get those Patreon bucks. And in a way, you know, in a way you could say, isn't that like kind of like AI art too? Like someone taking someone else's art style, but in that kind of way you still have to be able to draw that style well. Like even if you yoinked it, but with AI art you yoink it in a completely different way. You basically just tell the PCs, yoink this and do this. You don't need any skills. You don't, using prompts is not skillful, you know. But the thing is also about it, if you do it in your free time at home, I would say get your socks off, walk your socks off, masturbate to it, you know. Like I can see why many people see it as like a good valuable option to jerk off to, you know. Like there's some anime art I've seen that was AI. The thing is, the closer you look, the more mistakes you will see, but to the untrained eye, AI art to Kumas will look like something that is coomable. They will see it and go like, big boobs, wow, I coom. And you know, maybe that's the wrong opinion to have, but I think if you do it totally private, you don't upload it, you don't want to sell it, anything like that, you just basically make like your own private art collection of AI art, even though you yoink like other people's art styles. I think in one way it's still stupid, it's still done without, what is it called, without permission of the artists. But I don't think that's too bad in that way. But it becomes bad when people try to be ultra cringe lords and try to sell it. Like I've seen so many AI artists trying to make money with it. They make a Patreon, even though you basically yoink. There's like one art style that you see everywhere on P6. I totally mispronounced the word. It's like a Japanese deviant art, and there's like one AI art style that basically is like crack. Like everyone uses it nowadays. You can easily recognize it. Sadly, I don't know who was like the master of the art style, where they yoinked it from, but that's the one art style everyone uses, and it's like, it looks nice. Again, it doesn't look bad. It's more like bad when you look closely to it, but in a way it makes you feel like, yeah, I can see why this is popular and coomable, but you don't see the soul in it, you know. Like it doesn't make me think, wow, I really want to coom to this. Like the thing is, I don't measure arts by how much I want to coom to it, but in a way most people who do AI kind of do it. Like there's like the Kuma faction that want to just coom as much as they can and make like, oh, I'm gonna make a pyro image with a school uniform and it actually looks kind of decent, so I'm gonna jerk off to that, because there's not that many people who draw pyro in a school uniform or whatever. And in that way I can see why AI is so appealing to those people. The thing is, my PC would explode if I would ever try it, and I wouldn't try it because there's like so much stuff I can just jerk off to anyways. But you know, to many people, they see, hey, I don't have to do anything. I can just tell the PC what I want, the PC makes it for me, and boom, there it is. It looks decent. And for them, it's only gonna go up. Like the thing is, the more time passes, the better it will become, right? Like sometimes you look at something and you think, yeah, this already looks good. How good is it gonna look in 2 years? And it's really, how do you stop this? You can't really stop this. Like, I hope it won't develop in such a way that people can't get commissions, because that is like the big thing that will get hit. Because if every person can just get everything they want, like if the PC becomes so good at creating something that's very niche, why would you even try to pay money if you can get it for free from the PC? So in one way, you know, it's an unstoppable force in a way where I don't think it can be stopped anymore. Unless people make like really big rules, but you know how the government is. The government is always behind 20 years when it comes to internet stuff. Or, you know, there's like only old man sitting there and thinking, yeah, what is even internet? That, you know, that kind of stuff. Again, I don't want to become too political, but, you know, most people who sit up there don't know anything about technology. So, in one way, people back in the day didn't think about those jobs that get lost too. Like, even a PC can nowadays also program. And do you think a company won't use that? Like, companies already are starting. There's like companies that start with AI voices, AI writing. And in a way, the AI writing stuff, I can see it how it is a fruitful endeavor to develop. Because if you have a big open world game, most open world games have very generic AI, not AI dialogue yet, but they have very generic dialogue in open world games. Like, oh, I'm a farmer and I have 10 cows. Can you make them for me? And then I can already do that too. So in a way, even the writers who normally write the non-story stuff would also lose their jobs and things like that. There's going to be like a huge amount of people that will get kicked. Voice actors, like everything. It's I don't even know what to say to it. But why did I even want to talk about this topic? Like, this sounds like very depressing and pessimistic. But the thing is, it's still something you should be passionate about. Like, even if there's like all this AI stuff going on, you shouldn't let your passions get drowned by it. If you like to draw, keep drawing. If you like to voice act, keep voice acting. If you like to write, keep on writing fan fictions. There will always be a market. Like, there will always be people who will buy your commissions, even if they think, oh, I could actually just ask the PC. But, hopefully I don't sound like a hypocrite because I asked like a chatbot to give me a podcast name. Because the thing is, it sounds very sad, let's be honest here. I sound very sad when I say that I talk to chatbots. Like there's beta.character.ai and there's like tons of chatbots. Like, you can talk to Mario from Super Mario, you can talk to anime girls. And in a way, it surprised me with how good they are. Like, they're all built like on this ChatGPT thing and other AI prompt writers. And the thing is, I don't use that site anymore because it's very restrictive when it comes to I don't want to say it. You can download like silly Tarvon and stuff like that to make it run over your own CPU and everything. That's what I do, because then you can go around the limits, what it can write and what it can't write. And it is kind of amazing with how real they sometimes feel. Like, they always make silly mistakes here and there, but in a way, I like to ask them, like, what should I call my podcast, or just talk about something with, like, that sounds very sad, that I talk about my life and I ask for advice to those kind of chatbots. But anyways, AI, it will still become a big problem, but again, don't let your passionate things become something that you are not passionate about. And maybe sue people, make big bucks by suing someone who stole your art style. Hopefully. But in the end, I hope it won't make people not pursue their stuff. And hopefully people will understand that most AI art styles nowadays, the market is full. Like, the one art style I talked about, like I said, you can see it probably if you look at anime art. AI art, it makes you think, I saw 5 pictures in that art style and I'm already having my fill of it. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about AI real quick like that. And, a good jump would be something like movies now. I said I'm going to talk about video games. Random, like, we already had our random topic with the AI. Now we have our topic about movies. And I have to be honest, I'm the poster child of the Dunning-Kruger effect. For people who don't know, the Dunning-Kruger effect is, it goes both ways. When I watch a movie, every time I watch a movie and I see people act, I think, wow, these people act. That's acting. But I never got wowed by a acting performance. And I've saw a couple of the greatest movies of all time. At least that's what people say. Because my problem with movies is, every time I watch a movie, I go like, yeah, this was decent. In my life so far, I have never watched a movie that I would give like a 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 to. And I don't know if it's a me problem. I guess it must be, because I watch like some of the biggest movies where people go like, wow, this is like best movies of all time. And I was like, yeah. The thing is, a good example for me would be Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs. I watched that movie, and Hannibal Lecter in that movie is like this old bald guy who obviously eats people, or ate, because he's in a prison, and they talk to him because they want clues to find a new serial killer. And, I don't know the name of the actor, like, please don't crucify me, because it's probably a name you should know. I mean, Hannibal, I watched the TV show too, Nicholson. I know that name. I watched it too, but the thing is, even then, that Hannibal also made me think, this person is just acting. It never made me feel, wow, this performance is making me feel wow. And people say that Matt's acting in Hannibal, or that Hannibal Lecter in the Son of Lambs movie is like, wow, he made me so anxious that he's like a real serial killer. He took the role and made it his role. I sit there and think, oh, yeah, he's acting. I could do the same. But the thing is, these people, they go to acting schools for 10 years. They learn acting in acting classes. They learn it through such a long trainical approach. And I'm just sitting there in front of my PC and thinking like, yeah, this doesn't look like much. Like, my brain tells me this acting isn't worth shit in a way. Like, I can't really change that. Like, my toxic brain is like telling me, you can do this better. If you would act in this movie would be better. Like, that's the kind of Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is something where your brain goes like, I can do this, even though you have never done it before. Like, you think you can do it better than these people who are get paid millions and trained for this for years. And then the opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is still the Dunning-Kruger effect, is a person who made it would now say, for example, if Leonardo DiCaprio would say, yeah, acting, everyone can do it. Like, he's not wrong. Everyone can do it, but not everyone can perfectly do it. And they think that it's very easy to pick it up. So while I think it's easy to do it without doing it, those people think it's easy to do while doing it. You know? Because they don't think it's... I mean, it's just how the Dunning-Kruger effect works. And I have that with many things. Whenever I see actors acting, I go like, I can do that better. When I watch, the thing is, I have this with goalkeepers. Like, I sometimes watch football. You wouldn't expect this, but I'm a big football fan. I'm 5'2". In European measurements, that's 160 centimeters. I'm small as fuck. But when I played football with my friends in school and everything, I always liked being the goalkeeper, even though I was short. We didn't play on like super big goals. And then it didn't matter too much. My reflexes are top tier. I could be, like, see, that's where it sets in. Like, I wanted to say I could be the best goalkeeper in the world, even though I'm small. And the thing is, small goalkeepers, you never see a goalkeeper that is under like 1m80. You need to be at least 1m80 or 1m85 to really be a goalkeeper, because the bigger you are, the more you can cover. But I think a small goalkeeper like me could make it better if my positioning would be perfect. Like, every time I see like a goalkeeper concede a goal, I go like, hey, I could have saved this because my positioning would have made it so that I would have been in the place where I needed to be. So even though I'm smaller, I could easily catch the ball because I can anticipate where the ball is going to go. That's the Dunning-Kruger effect. And I literally think like that. Like, I literally think if I would really have pursued the path of a goalkeeper in football, I would have became a good goalkeeper. I could have literally made it a job. But the thing is, they wouldn't even give me the day of time because I'm that small. That's another big example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. And maybe that's one of those reasons why movies to me don't speak so much, but I want you to recommend me some movies. I want people to tell me, hey, have you watched this? Have you watched that? And then I can tell them, no, maybe I haven't, maybe I did. But if I see like a movie that I then look up and see what it's about in my comments, I would then maybe for the next episode watch it and go, hey, you know, I watched this movie, let me quickly talk about it. And, you know, I am open to recommendations. I like getting stuff recommended to me, but I don't like recommending stuff to other people. And why? I'm gonna drink something real quick, so I'm gonna have to do a pause. So whenever I recommend something to people, I always think, what if that person watches my recommendation or plays my recommendation and then goes like, oh, I didn't enjoy my time with it, and then I wasted basically their time. Like, I would feel bad if I wasted their time. Like, I think it's like normal that sometimes your recommendation will not be a recommendation that sits well with other people. Like, they won't hate you for it, but they will go like, oh, you know, didn't enjoy it too much, and it would make me feel bad. Like, it's weird. Like, it would literally make me think, oh shit, I never want to recommend them anything again, even though I can recommend something 5 things and they like all of those 5 things, and then I recommend them something again and that thing sucks for them, and then I would go like, oh, sorry for wasting your time, I never will recommend you anything ever again. But I like taking recommendations. So if you have any movie recommendations for me, I have a letterbox where I've put in like 5 movies that I watched when I started watching movies. I have to still expand that and, still watch a little bit more movies, but I'm open to really big suggestions. So I eventually, if I finish my letterbox, update it, I can link it in the description so people can see which I've watched already. And then, maybe because someone will suggest me American Psycho. I watched it. That's one of those rare movies I watched. Was okay. Wasn't like world breaking, but it was okay. Like, movies for me, mostly every time I watch a movie, it goes, man, it was okay. But what isn't okay is that I recently, don't laugh at me, like a few weeks ago, I bought my very first SSD hard drive, like solid state disk, instead of having a hard drive disk. And I knew SSDs are way, way faster than an HDD, but I didn't know they're that much faster. Like, when I still had my HDD, my PC booted up. It literally took, don't let me lie, 10 minutes, and then another 10 minutes to actually boot Steam, Discord, Chrome. So it took me like literally every time my PC like crashed or I shut it down, it literally took me 20 minutes to be able to use my PC again. Windows updates, 1 hour of my day gone because it needed that long to update every time it updated. Then in the store, the SSD, and I don't even have a expensive one. Like, I bought like a Samsung one for like for $60, not 600. That would be way out of my budget, and it boosts in like 15 seconds. Every time I then type in like Windows key, then type in Chrome, open Chrome, bam, it's literally there. Discord, bam, boom, Steam, boom, boom, boom. Everything is there in 20 seconds. It made me think, why didn't I do it sooner? That's a big question, actually. But it made me wonder about the amazing world of technology. Even though I do hate technology, because when I put out I still have my old drive in there, but obviously I had to put my GPU out and had to, open up my PC to put in the SSD because it's an M2. So I had to stick it onto my main board. I had to look for the screws and everything. Found it, put it in, worked perfectly. First time booted, I had to like, the only hard thing was like booting Windows on it, even because one of my USB disk sticks died while I did it once, and then the other one I used for my Wii to store like my Wii games on there, and I didn't want to format it to then have Windows put on there to put it into my PC to install Windows, and I had to like do that because I wanted to have really Windows on my SSD to really use it. And then I had to like, I was kind of afraid that my Wii 1 USB stick that I use for the games or GameCube games too, because my Wii is homebuilt, it would also destroy my USB stick. Luckily it didn't. Everything worked perfectly, and then boom, fresh Windows installation, everything's perfect. And I am happy that I did that. I don't think anyone I will talk to like, if I'm talking to you right now, you probably are still a person that has an SSD, because SSDs back in the day were unpayable in a way. Then they became more mainstream, boom, suddenly everyone can buy one. And it's not hard to put one into your PC. Like, even if you pay like $20 to the local PC store to put it in there, it's worth it. But the thing is, like I said, I don't have to tell anyone that, because I think everyone I know has one already. So, one big shout out to SSDs. And when we talk about SSDs, we have to talk about STDs, which I don't have because I'm a virgin. And then next we have Zelda. No, wait, I spoiled it. I want to say, next we have the gaming stuff. And, there was one big release this week. I wonder what it could have been. Maybe it was Tears of the Kingdom. So, Tears of the Kingdom, people who know me know or have seen my reaction in like the Nintendo Directs or like the gameplay demonstration, was it, I think. No, it wasn't a gameplay demonstration, it was like the final trailer that I did a reaction to. So I did a reaction to that, and even at that point I wasn't like super duper hyped. Like, every trailer for the game made me think, yeah, I have to say it, I love Breath of the Wild. I loved it, and it's really weird to not be hyped for like a sequel to a game you loved, right? Like, you would think everyone that loved Breath of the Wild would also be hyped for Tears of the Kingdom, but for some reason none of the trailers really activated my hype. And I couldn't even pinpoint it down to why. So I was watching every trailer and every new direct or gameplay demonstration. I was like, yeah, it is okay, but it's not activating the feelings I had for like the original Breath of the Wild, just judging by that, because I was super duper hyped for the original Breath of the Wild. Something that added to it was obviously Switch, the new hardware, because if you have like new hardware, a new console, it was the first console I had on day one. I had a Wii in the first release year because I got a Wii at Christmas because it released at the Christmas date. That was 3 weeks later, but it wasn't like paid with my own money. It wasn't like pre-ordered and anything. So the Switch was the first console I've ever pre-ordered and had on day one. The thing is, that day my Switch came on release day, but my Breath of the Wild game didn't come. Like, it was sold out on Amazon, and I didn't order it faster than the other people who got the game, so I got like the second batch of the games that Amazon then sent out a week after. The thing is, a smart person would have said, why do I have to then buy it from Amazon? So I can cancel my order, go into the local video game store and buy it there. I'm a very lazy person. So I waited a week for the game to arrive instead. And it was worth it. But then you Tears of the Kingdom, you know, I was literally 0% hyped. Maybe, let's say 5% hyped. And then, you know, the days went by and the game came out. And the thing is, my Switch is dead. It's not really dead. It can still play games for like an hour, like hard games. It can play stuff like Smash or Mario Maker fine because the fan is dead. My Switch's launch fan is dead. And a repair service from Nintendo themselves costs $60, and no repair service that repairs like phones or consoles in my region where I live, in my area, offers Nintendo repairs. So I would have to get the official Nintendo repair. It's $60, and I'm not quite sure if it's worth it so late in its lifetime, where I could just think like, yeah, I'm gonna save these $60 for like the next Switch. Maybe it's backwards compatible. And the thing is, I bought Tears of the Kingdom. I posted on Twitter. I am emulating the game and playing it. And the thing is, there's no more like the thing is, the first few days it had a few crashes here and there, but everything works. Like, no graphical issues, a few crashes here and there, but nothing bad on an emulator. So the first the thing is, I'm not really going to spoil anything, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about where I walked to, what I did there. You know, it's not really going to be any story spoilers, but maybe a little bit of location spoilers, I guess. So if you haven't beaten it yet, I will do timestamps so you can skip the Zelda talk. So the thing is, the tutorial made me a little bit unflattered in my hype. Like, my hype was already not that high. Now played like the Sky Island tutorial, and I was like, whew, it feels way more linear and structured than the Great Plateau. The Great Plateau made me think I can go anywhere to any shrine I want. Like, all these shrines are kind of fairly close to each other, but you know, you can go anywhere you want. But in Tears of the Kingdom, you basically have to go in the order, because the thing is, you basically have to get the Ascend ability as the last ability, otherwise you can literally already do some crazy stuff. And obviously, you know, they want to first have you the Outrun ability, so you can build the hook to get onto the second island, because the gameplay mechanics are way more open-ended in a way, right? Like, in the first game, you got bombs, you have stasis, you have that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of sad that the bombs didn't come back. Like, building bomb arrows is fun, and throwing bomb flowers is also fun. But in a way, I really wish we would get the bombs back that we could spam unlimitedly. But they kind of broke the game a little bit, so I can understand why. And in a way, sometimes you still think, oh, I'm kind of missing these old abilities, but I don't really miss them except the bombs. And I kind of thought, you know, when I played the game, that they would bring some of those back. Like, I kind of thought we are going to get at least the bombs back, but the more I play the game, the less likely it becomes. So we have like Outrun now, we can fuse, we have Rewind, we have Ascend, and those are like your 4 new main gimmicks. And it is amazing how these little, they're not little, but it's amazing how these 4 things can transform the world that we already kind of played through in such a way. Obviously, there's way more caves now, and I think it's kind of funny to think about that Nintendo literally added the Ascend ability because they realized, hey, we made caves. How the fuck do we get out of these caves without fast travel and walking all the way back? And then someone at Nintendo probably thought, hey, how about we make an ability that makes you go through walls? Because in a thematical way, it doesn't fit into the themes. Like, all the other abilities are like fusing and grabbing things, but then suddenly there's an ability that makes you let you go through the ceiling. It's like, okay, that doesn't really fit into the lore of the other ones, but you know, I'm happy that it's there. Even though for the first few hours when I played it on stream still, I kind of forgot that it sometimes existed. Like, I went into a cave, I'm like, how the fuck do I get out of this cave? Like, the hole at the ceiling is way too high up for my little stamina that I have at the start, and I can't build something to make me get out of here. And then eventually a friend in the chat was like, hey, you have the ability where you can go through walls, right? Or ceilings. And I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. Like, it really makes you feel like you're an idiot. In the first few hours, at least it made me feel like an idiot, because I kept forgetting that I have those abilities, or that special ability that I can go through the ceiling. And the way it gets used in puzzles, the way you can fuse the stuff. I'm not a very creative person, but even I love building. I'm not really the master builder. Never mind, I wanted to make masturbation joke, but I will not do that. I will spare you. The one thing that it really makes me amazed by is how different the world feels, even though I feel like I've been through this world before. Like, they changed a few things here and there, and just that you have caves here, sky islands there, it adds already something. But just the overall overworld with added structures here and there makes you feel like, like, it makes you feel like, I think we all made kind of fun of Ubisoft for kind of having open worlds that feel very generic and not very special. But every Ubisoft game at least uses a different map, right? Like Far Cry 4 uses a different map than Far Cry 5 and Far Cry 6, even though they will all feel very same, because it's the same things you do. And in the Zelda game, it's kind of the same way too. Like, you have a co-work puzzle there, you have a sky tower that you have to solve, you have to do this and that. In a way, it's very much the same formula, but the way your abilities make it such a different experience is like amazing. How it makes you feel so different. Like, it's like I can't almost put it into words. It's weird. Like, in every other game, if they reuse the same world, I would go like, wow, this feels so lazy. But here in Zelda, they made it feel so different with such little changes that it's like, I don't know how they did it. It feels like magic. So, it doesn't get boring. It took me a little while to get going, really. But when I went going, I'm addicted to it now. Like, I don't even want to stop gaming it. So, they did it again. I've so far have done one dungeon. The dungeon was fine, but the music of the dungeon I did the Rito dungeon, which is for most people the first one they do probably. The music when you fight the boss, and it changed like into its third music stage, it goosebumps. Like, if the bosses keep on being there, I mean, it wasn't really hard, but if the bosses keep on having amazing music like that, the thing is, the dungeon itself felt a little bit, they feel a little bit divine beastly, because you get like, oh, you have 5 locks and you have to unlock them. It's like the 5 terminals from like Breath of the Wild, without the master gimmick of like, in every divine beast you could change like the giraffe's neck, you can change the elephant's penis, things like that. All of them, or the wings on like the Rito one, they all had that one big game main gimmick where you can choose the location of their body parts. Here you don't really have that. Like the Wind Temple, the Rito dungeon, had like wind. You flew around and stuff, you were icy. Fire Temple probably has fire puzzles and stuff like that. They still felt a mix between the old dungeons and divine beasts. So far I have only done one. It feels like it's not amazing, but they still feel a little bit more, yeah. What I don't like about the game though is the way the story is structured. Like Tears of the Kingdom plays more in the present and past than what Tears of the Breath of the Wild did. Breath of the Wild mostly played in the past. Like if you watch the memories, if you blah blah blah, it didn't really had much of a story at all. Like it had like when you go to like the sages or the warriors and their ancestors, you do like a little bit of story here and there, but overall it wasn't like really like cutscene. The thing is, in Tears of the Kingdom, you get a lot of past stuff, but you also get like more presently stuff. But the thing is, I don't really care. Like, the thing is, the story so far is leaving me very cold. Like, the characters don't connect with me. I'm like kind of like, yeah, the cutscenes feel very dragged out. Like, the cutscene after the first dungeon I did, the Rito dungeon, where, you know, Tolin meets the ancient sage of the Wind Temple, it felt like so showy. I was like, okay, can you two wrap it up already? And I think the way the game is structured, so it's still open world, and you can basically tackle it in any way you want. It's still going to be like that, where everywhere I go, it's going to be like the same kind of thing, the same cutscenes, just with the different characters. That's going to have the same topics, the same things. You know, it's not going to change in an overall way. But maybe it's going to be totally different. But so far, the story in Tears of the Kingdom leaves me kind of cold. But Zelda games never really were the story for me. It was the puzzles, the dungeons, the world, and sometimes the characters too. But then they keep, in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, they keep me kind of, you know, kind of cold. Except Puras. She left me kind of hot. And, you know, Sidon's, you know, the new fish lady, the green one. Damn, I love me some fishies. Sometimes. So, well, I didn't really play anything else except Zelda. And I could go on about Zelda more and more. But another thing I recently started doing a little bit was retro achievements. No, it has been a while since I last played already. I went for like almost all retro achievements in Burnout 3. Burnout 3, probably my favorite PlayStation 2 arcade racer. It goes fast, it goes fun, it's fast and fun. And retro achievements, for people who don't know it, basically you can use RetroArch, which I don't like. I use like all the emulators. Nowadays, most of those emulators also have like retro achievements support without RetroArch, whatever you want to call it. And it basically, you make an account on the website and it tracks like your game progress. And it's like achievements in games that back in the day didn't have achievements, right? Like back in the day, Ocarina of Time didn't have achievements, or Mario 64. Nowadays, if you play it on an emulator that has like the retro achievement support, you can log in onto the emulator and it will track like, oh, you know, you beat this level, you get an achievement for that. And the thing is, the achievements are made by users. And sometimes you open a website, you find one of your favorite retro games and you think, hey, you know, I want a new challenge. I want to look up a retro achievement of, let's say, Ape Escape 2, which I've recently have done a little bit. And then Ape Escape 2 had like a football monkey minigame where you have to beat the monkey tournament in football. And it was kind of hard. It took me like 4 hours, but I felt fulfilled. It was like an achievement that made sense. Like, do this minigame and beat it. Done it. Boom. And then there's achievements where you feel like they are out of pocket. Sorry, I talk like a zoomer. Where you think, isn't it a little bit way too hard? Like in the real world, you have that too sometimes. Like, you know, you have games where some of the achievements are very easy. Then you have games where the achievements are like a good mix between hard and easy. And then you have games that have like very much easy achievement, but then there's one big hard achievement that makes you think, how the fuck am I ever gonna get that? And retro achievements kind of cranks it up way more, because it feels like they're more like going after the veterans. There's some games with really easy 100% achievements, and then there's games where you think, why would anyone go through all of this, even if they really love the game? Like, sometimes your favorite game can have a really good set of retro achievements, and sometimes your game that you want to do has an achievement list that you check and you go like, no, I'm gonna get a few of these achievements that I will never go for 100%. So it's a mixed bag in certain ways. But in general, you know, achievements are something that I do like. Like, there's people who just don't care, there's people who really love them, and there's people that somehow hate them, which I don't understand. Like, they don't hate anyone. Like, you can, in Steam, you can turn off your notification, you can turn off the sound. On PlayStation, you can do the same. On Xbox, probably too. Like, you can just turn them off and you will never have to care about them. But I see people online sometimes that go like, wow, trash, I wish they would have never added them. It's like, you know, you don't really, I don't think they are built for people. Like, the thing is, so I think Sony and Microsoft requested games to have them, but it's not like they are taking away from the main game, you know? So I'm not quite sure. Like, it's like one of those topics that you can make like a psychological video about, where you go like, whoa, you know, this psychological effect that achievements have on gamers. Will they play more or will they play less because they can't or can get an achievement? And I'll get something like that. But today my achievement was that I made burgers. Really tasty burgers though. Because I like them simple. You know, when I make burgers myself, bun. The thing is, I'm a person who does not like the burnt buns. Like, some people put the buns into the oven, make them a little bit more crusty. I am enjoy of the slobby kind of burger bun, which for many people, I guess, maybe it's more like an American thing. I do like them a little bit soft. I like them soft. Like, the thing is, I said that slop, but they don't really feel sloppy. Like, the thing is, sometimes they break, but like, sometimes the thing is, mine don't do that. I think that mostly happens to people who love juicy burgers. You know, people who love tomatoes. But for me, tomatoes are things that they do belong on burgers for some people. But for me, they don't belong on my burgers. I love tomatoes. I can eat a whole tomato. I can bite in, you know, a little bit salt in there. Mwah. But for me, they juice the burger too much. Like, if I put a tomato in, when I take a bite from the burger, I will then only taste the bun, or not the bun, the meat bun, or the meat. I will mostly feel the meat and the tomato, because the tomato has like the ultimate juiciness. Like, tomatoes are juicy, even if they're cut in slices. And the tomato juice out juices the rest of the burger. So that's why I don't like tomatoes too much on my burgers. So how do I do my burger? I put the bottom of the bun onto the plate. Then the first slice of lettuce. Bam. Then the meat bun. Bam. We put one piece of meat in there. Then we take the ketchup. I'm an enjoyer of ketchup. Ketchup makes everything better. You can call me a kid. Like, I don't even understand where people come from that say, oh, you know, only kids like ketchup. Everyone who's an adult should not eat ketchup. Like, if you think about it that way, you are never allowed to use any sauce again. Like, if you use sauces, why are you allowed to use a sauce but not ketchup? It doesn't make sense. Like, who came up with the rule that ketchup is for kids, but barbecue sauce isn't? I hate barbecue sauce. Or like, imagine you make yourself a nice spaghetti carbonara, or spaghetti, what's the name for it again? Well, let's go with the one that everyone knows. Spaghetti bolognese. Bolognese is like tomato sauce with meatballs kinda, or like meat or minced meat in general. Pretty simple. It's like probably the most spaghetti, I think, or spaghetti Napoli, which is basically just tomato sauce. Isn't that basically also then, you know, why don't you eat your noodles without anything? Because sauces, like ketchup, is kind of like a sauce. So if ketchup makes you a kid, why isn't Napoli or sauce Napoli for spaghetti Napoli also not for kids? It doesn't make sense. So I can't take people seriously who say like, oh, you know, ketchup is for kids. But, you know, I put ketchup then onto the meaty bun. Then I put 2 slices of a fresh cucumber. And the thing is, it's not normal cucumber. Like, you have like a normal cucumber that like is normal, and then you have like the cucumbers that are like in a jar, you know, like the little bit more sour ones. I love those too. So I put 2 slices of normal cucumbers in there. And the thing is, cucumbers, you can say, but you don't like tomatoes on burger. How do you like then cucumbers? The thing is, cucumbers do also have the juiciness, but they are not that juicy. Like, if you bite into cucumber, they don't drip the juice out. If you bite into tomato, they drip the juice out, and it doesn't slobber all over the burger. So I put then 2 little slices of cucumbers onto the burger bun that's covered in ketchup, to then also cover the cucumbers in ketchup from the bottom. And then I put on the second slice of lettuce, and then the sour cucumber things. Also 2 slices again, and then I put on the top bun. Now you say, wow, you're a basic bitch. And I have to be honest, maybe I am. And actually, sometimes I do enjoy myself some jalapenos. Like, I normally make like 2 burgers, sometimes 3. I like the simple one, and then the other 2 burgers, I put some jalapenos on top. You know, the jalapenos would be like over the cucumbers, then the lettuce again, and then the sour cucumbers, and then jalapenos again. It makes it a little bit of a spicy note, not too overly spicy, but bun. No cheese for me because nowadays I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't really do that. So that's my perfect burger, how I do them at home. But obviously, you know, if I had guests and visitors and you like cheese, I would buy you some cheese. I would give you what you want for your burger, you know? Like, that's the mark of a good burger maker. Someone who makes the burgers perfectly for everyone that wants the burger perfectly done in a different way. But this is like how I like them. I like them simple, not too much stuff on there. So, you know, the secret Vansy burger, which isn't really that secret because it's basically very basic. But you know, that's how I like my burgers the best. But do you know what I don't like the best? YouTube recommendations. The thing is, recently, you know, I watched a few shorts because friends kept sending like DK Oldies shorts. For people who don't know DK Oldies is like a retro store in America that's overpriced as heck. And they send like really disgusting consoles from the inside. Like from the outside they look okay, but from the inside they are not really cleaned, even though they say, oh, we refurbished them and blah blah blah. And you know, I think when you watch a lot of shorts, YouTube gives you like this shorts recommendation page. Like, I don't think I had that before a few weeks. Like, no, I do have that though. And the thing is, there's like a video about a video game. Like, oh, 5 fun facts about this video game you watch a video about. Like, I now got recommended like a Mario Kart short or a Zelda one. Well, yeah, makes sense. Then there's like a clip of a streamer I've never seen in my life before. Like, this streamer did a funny thing. Hee hee. I'm like, haven't seen this one before. Won't click. Then you have a cute animal video, but then for some reason YouTube adds in one super disgusting video recommendation every single time. Every time I saw my YouTube short recommendation, there was one fucking disgusting thing. Either it was decayed tooth, how to remove. Like, the thing is, who the fuck removes a decayed freaking tooth at their own place? Like, even if you watch a YouTube video on it, you should not do it. Maybe it's like not for people to do it at home, but it's just like for people who are interested to see how it works. It had like 25 million views, and basically the thumbnail of it was like it's a decayed tooth that looked disgusting, and it made me think, YouTube, why did you recommend me this? Then, you know, next day, cute animal video, short about video games, streamer I haven't seen before, and then how to pop the biggest cyst. And it wasn't just the thumbnail of the cyst. I think you can't even choose the thumbnail yet for short, because I've uploaded a few shorts and I can't change the thumbnail, and it just picks like a random thing. And YouTube always picks like the most disgusting thing. Like, it wasn't a cyst or sized. Like, the thing is, let's say a big pimple or pimple, yeah. You know, the thing is that you sometimes grow and then you pop it, and then there's so much stuff coming out. I haven't had one of those in a long time, luckily. And for some reason, YouTube thinks, yeah, let's recommend this disgustingly video short to Vansy. And I think it feels like everyone gets those. Like, everyone gets like at least one disgusting recommendation in their YouTube short recommendation. Like, the thing is, most recommendations I get on YouTube normally, it's not too bad. Video game music that I listen to, more stuff from channels I've kind of watched. I have to say, the recommendations for me most of the time are not really like hits, but they're also not misses. It's not like it recommends me totally bad videos. But, you know, I'm just sitting there every time I scroll through down and see the YouTube short recommendations, I go like, why? There's always one disgusting thumbnail video. It makes me think, what is wrong with YouTube? And I guess that's what many people think about YouTube, isn't it? But yeah, I just wanted, maybe you have the same experience with it. Hopefully not. Hopefully you have only cute animals. And, you know, I think that's kind of unlikely. There's a lot of weird stuff on YouTube. And hopefully you will never get to see more of that, because I've... Thank you for telling me something and totally telling me, I forgot what I was talking about now, because this Windows Defender notification just made me, yeah, my brain is not working anymore. And I think, that is almost close to the 1 hour mark, I think. So maybe the Windows Defender maker thingy, option menu, detector, assistant, stop me from going on another rant about something that nobody will care about. So thank you, Windows Defender. Maybe defended myself from myself. But yeah, that was the first awkward hour with Vansy. It wasn't that awkward, like, even though it kind of feels weird to maybe talk to yourself in front of your TV without having anyone. Like when you stream, you at least have like a few people in the chat you can talk to. But when you do like a normal video like this, it feels a little bit more like, who is he talking to? Hehe. But yeah, luckily I listen to music the whole time through it, because, well, I can mute my desktop audio. Because the thing is, I want to add music in the post-production, because when you listen to music on YouTube, some songs are louder and less louder than the other ones, and then you can't really, then you have to fix it, you have to click and click and click, and I don't want to do that. So, again, that was the thing is, I'm bad at saying goodbyes, but, yeah, that was the first awkward hour of Vansy. Maybe I will change the name eventually, like, maybe if you have better suggestions for the name of it. It's still a work in progress with how I will do the video aspect of it. I wanted to do, like, animated wallpapers that change the background, but, too much work. So you shouldn't say that. You should never say too much work, because then it makes you think you don't care about the people who watch. But the thing is, it's like a podcast kind of thing, so you shouldn't watch it anyways. But for people who want to watch me move my head left and right like this for an hour, maybe I should provide them a better service. But yeah, the first awkward hour, maybe it wasn't so awkward for you, but I will buy you goodbye, because it's over. I enjoyed my stay. I wanted to sing like the killer song, that everyone uses as their stream outro song, but I should not sing. One day I will do a karaoke stream, If we hit 15 likes on this video, I will do a karaoke stream. It will be the worst day of my life, but we won't hit that. So, see you next time to the next hour, or the next awkward hour of Vansy, if you like this one. So, see you next time. I would give you a thumbs up. Wait, I can do a thumbs up. Oh, no, wait, I can only wink. Wait, look. Wait. Hotkeys are not working. It's my yeah, okay. Imagine myself winking you. Good night, good morning, and everything.